Okay, great. Now we're back into the what I'm hoping will be the last portion of this video. So let's get going. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these guys in their own folder. All right, because they're separate items from the images. So I'm just going to call this one text and Matt. There you go. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to apply some styles to the individual images. So what I need to do is expand, click on the disclosure triangle for the collage images. And then what I need to do is apply a style to these individual images. And in this case, all right, what we're going to be doing is I want to have a stroke and possibly drop shadow and possibly an inner glow applied to each one of these images. And if I was to apply the layer style to the image itself, all right, I would not be able to see the effects of that layer style because it's being clipped to the window. And so it's all kind of sitting behind the scenes, so to speak. So if I want to have a stroke and all that kind of stuff applied to my image, I actually, as strange as this sounds, I have to apply it to the box or the shape that I'm clipping my image to. Yeah, I know, it's bizarre. Anyways, I'm going to go under Layer, Style, and I'm going to choose Stroke to begin with. And again, these values that I'm putting in here are good for the low res, not necessarily good for high res, so just keep that in mind. All right, now I'm going to change the size from the default 5. I'm also going to change the position from outside. As you can see, it's starting to round the corners, and I'm not a big fan of that, at least in this design. So I'm going to change this to inside. Now you can see how it's going nice, tight, 90 degrees. Beautiful. All right. But what I need to do is make that stroke size a little bit small, so I just click inside there and I tap the down arrow key until I get something that's what I think is acceptable. And that looks like it probably would be acceptable. All right, so now I've got a little bit of separation, definition between the image and its background. I can leave it at this, but I want to put a little drop shadow on there. So I'm going to click on this and choose to possibly reduce the intensity of the drop shadow. But I kind of like the width and distance. It works well with these low res images, so I'm going to leave them at 5 for the distance and 5 for the size. But I'll let you guys modify that for your higher res images. All right. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to put a little bit of a vignetting kind of a thing going on inside the image. All right. So what I need to do is I need to add what's called an inner glow. And by default, a glow, I'm just going to click on this phrase, inner glow. By default, a glow is very bright and light. So we have white as our inner glow. You may have yellow. All right, but the other thing is we have the screen blending mode, and the screen blending mode just kind of lightens things. All right, we'll get into blending modes in another video. What I want to do is I want to change this glow of white to black. So I click on the little color chip here, and then I just put my cursor in here and change this to black. All right, now the next thing I need to do is change this blend mode from screen to normal. And I think you saw a little bit of something show up in there. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so we can see. And if I were to turn this off and on, you can see there's a little bit of a vignetting or a little darkening around the edges there. And I may want to increase this to maybe 8, maybe 7. I think 7 would be good. We'll see. We'll see how that works. All right, and I'm just going to leave everything as it is, the 75% opacity, all that kind of stuff. Actually, I'm going to go up to 8, and I'm going to click OK. All right, and then I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. And we're going to take a look at that and say, okay, that could be good. Maybe it's a little bit much, maybe not, but at least we got a starting point, something to start with. All right. Here are all the different effects, my drop shadow, my inner glow, and my stroke that I've applied. All right, here's the eyeballs to turn the visibility of these guys on and off. And over here we have the layer style indicator all right, saying that this layer does have some effects in there, and I can click on this little triangle here to collapse it so it's not occupying more space down the layers panel. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to apply this layer style to, as an example, Katrina LeMay-Doan. All right, so what I'm going to do is, remember in the past when we had one image and we wanted to make a duplicate through the document, blah, 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 we just held down the Option key. Well, you can do the same thing here. If I hold down the Option key and put my cursor on the little FX icon here, and then click, hold, and drag up to this one, you can see how I'm going to be dropping down a layer effects. And if you take a look in the document window, you'll see that I now have, all right, the effects applied to that black box window. I'm just going to collapse that because it doesn't need to be open. All right, so that's one way, that's two ways, that's three ways. There's 100 ways to go about doing this. What I could possibly do is right click on this and come down and choose copy layer style, and then I can just come over to this guy here, click on it, and choose paste layer style, and now I have that on the center image where Walter is signing. All right, so there's many ways to go about doing this, and I can come over here and do a similar thing, but this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of these guys and I'm going to paste the layer style to multiple layers at once. All right, now there we go. We've got this. I'm just going to collapse all these guys, scroll back up here, collapse this, and then I'm going to collapse that, bring this over here, and I'm just going to do File, Save, and there we go. All right, hope you guys remembered all this from the classroom, and now you're applying this to your absolutely fantastic images that you shot on one of our field trips. Thanks, guys. I look forward to seeing what you're submitting. Great.